Okay, hi again. It's my latest tips and tricks. And this is October 8th, Saturday night, and I'm doing my favorite thing, cooking. So I thought I would share a few little things. I was sitting here cooking. I'm making a vegetarian chili. I thought of a few things that I wanted to share with you. One is that I just got done cutting up about 4 onions. I like a lot of onions in my chili. Caramelize them for 10 to 30 minutes, depending on how much time I have. I just keep stirring them along as they're going. Add a little bit of salt. It really draws out the sweetness to them. I also usually will use a Walla Walla sweet onion. They have a lot of flavor and kind of that sweetness without being overly oniony in anything. So, and then of course the caramelizing takes a lot of that onion bite out, just turning them into a really, really good flavor. Then what I do is I like to mince garlic. And for most of you, you know that if you want to mince garlic, the hard way is to cut it. The easy way is to get one of these contraptions, a garlic mincer. I wanted to share this particular one with you because I've had this since I've been married, about 15 years, and I bought it at IKEA. It's $4.99, and it still is $4.99 because mine got stuck in the garbage disposal and got pretty beat up from the garbage disposal mechanism. But the inside comes out of this. So you can see there's a little hole in here. It's just, this is the mincer part. It's got a bunch of little holes in the bottom. You put that into the garlic mincer holder, if that's a word. And then this thing just presses it through. And the reason why I like this so much is because I've used quite a bit of them in the past. And it always seems that when you mince it, on the sides, extra garlic comes out, squeezes out the top of it. And this one, it never happens. It minces every single thing in there. And if you accidentally left a skin, it doesn't mince the skin. The skin kind of accumulates at the bottom. So I'll show you this. When I mince the garlic, everything comes out. Of course, you know, it kind of sticks to the bottom of it. So as you mince a few of the cloves, all that kind of falls to the bottom. And then if you need to at the end, when you're all done with it, you just take a knife and scrape it off. And look at that. Nothing was left in it except for a little bit of the peel that was stuck in there. So it does a beautiful job. And for $4.99, you can't go wrong. So that's my favorite garlic mincer, and I use it every day. Love it because I cook with a lot of garlic and a lot of onion. Another thing I wanted to share with you is that as I'm cooking, peeling onions or garlic or carrot tops, whatever you might be cutting, next to my cutting board, I put a paper towel that kind of slides under the bottom of it, and it's usually about 1.5 or one whole paper towel. And then as I'm cutting onions or peeling garlic, I pile all my scraps on the side on this paper towel. And then when you're done, instead of having, you know, to constantly turn around and put it in the garbage or whatever, you just pull up the paper towel with all the scraps inside and you toss it. I actually use a little garbage can that carries all my compost because our garbage company collects all our organics and composts them for us. So that way you feel like you're being good to the environment too. So that's a really easy way to keep your kitchen clean as you're cooking. Just toss it in there, and then you're not having to wash the counter and do all that stuff. It keeps every surface clean. One of the other things I mentioned in my earlier blog was how I am really enjoying cooking with dried goods. So dried beans and legumes. I keep a lot of spices now. I buy them in bulk because then I only have to buy what I need, and then I'm able to cook with more fresh ingredients. And these are also from IKEA. So I have these three, actually I think there's about 4 or 5 sizes from IKEA that you can purchase. There's a small, medium, and large that I really like. So the large one, I think that is 20, I want to say, no, probably like 32 ounces so it carries quite a bit, and I usually will store beans and rice in that one because I go through those really quick. The next medium size down, that is a really nice size too. It carries more things that I don't use as much as I'm going to use beans and rice. This is an Azuki bean, so it's kind of a specialized bean that I don't use a ton. And then you've got a smaller one, and that's really good for bulk spices, or like sometimes I'll get wild rice and I don't cook a lot with it, so I'm not going to buy a ton of it. It's just maybe enough for a serving for the family. And like with this is curry. I cook with a lot of curry on my vegetarian dishes, so I buy that in bulk. There's also a very small one for spice. This is fenugreek powder. So again, I don't use a ton of it, but I like to keep that in a little jar. So those are a few of those things, and those are really, really inexpensive. They're beautiful, so you can put them on your counter, which I'll show you here a little bit later. This is a tall version. I did forget one, and this one I really like too. And this one actually is really good in the cabinet because you can stack, if you have a high cabinet, you can stack a lot more in there, and they carry about the same as what the large size jars are. They're just taller and skinnier. So again, really inexpensive. Now you're avoiding having to cook with frozen or canned goods. You buy those jars and you've got everything that you need. I have got tons of them. I probably have 30 of them, and I'm cooking with so many different variety of these dried goods because of the vegetarian lifestyle. Another tip that I wanted to share with you is as you start collecting your cookbook recipes. So sometimes you have your favorites. Instead of having a ton of cookbooks out there, or like for me, I like to go to all recipes and I have favorites on there that I will use again and again. I like to print them out or make copies of my cookbook favorites. So I have one collection of all my favorites that's really easy to just kind of keep in one area. And then what I do is I buy just a standard notebook at the Office Depot or whatever office store you have. And I make my collection. This is my latest collection of my cookbook recipe favorites. And so this one is Elise's recipe book, Vegetarian Dishes. It's all my latest vegetarian dishes that I like, from copies of cookbooks and all recipes and whatever. Inside, once I actually write them all out or print them all out, I like to add my notes on them as well. So if you look there, you can see, you know, as you change things out, you could just add notes or little things like that. My friends love this. Every time they come over, they're just totally impressed. And it's so cheap, so easy to do. You know, I print and put it in one of those folders that has the clear cover, so you can print something fancy looking and then just slip it inside. But really easy, keeps everything together, and then you can stash your cookbooks in a cupboard where you don't have hundreds of them just cluttering your countertop. And then you've got one that looks very pretty that you could put on your counter. So anyway, that's another tip that I like. I just wanted to share a few of those with you today, and I will share my next tips and tricks with you in a few more days. Hope you enjoyed.